to another late night wine drinking session with the Wineanorak, and tonight I'm going to look at three different wines fairly briefly and then take a look at some books. The first wine we're going to look at is a Prosecco, which is a sparkling wine from Italy, and this is a Prosecco Rosé, which first I've got to open. It's always fun opening sparkling wines. You never know what might happen. That'll be the dog in the background wants to be let in. So I've got to pause and go let her in. Okay, back to the Prosecco, but first, before I comment further on it, a piece of advice: don't get a dog. Never, ever. This is a really pale pink. It's kind of hardly a rosé at all. Just a tiniest hint of salmon to it. It's only just fizzy as well. It's less fizzy than champagne, Prosecco. It's kind of the pressure's much less. And it's kind of herby, a bit of strawberry fruit, quite pleasant, but not terribly startling or particularly good. It's okay. And to be honest, I prefer a bit more colour in my rosés as well. This is just too pale. So this is probably a miss for me. The second wine is a Shiraz Cabernet from Australia from J.J. McWilliam. This is an inexpensive red, quite a good colour. Sweet fruit on the nose, you know what you'd expect from a commercial Australian wine. Not unpleasant, maybe just a hint of greenness, but not too much greenness, and lots of sweet red and black fruits. And it's very accessible on the palate. Very fruity. In fact, it's almost off dry. There's some sweetness there, which I think is more than just fruit sweetness. I think there's some residual sugar there. So maybe a bit of grape juice concentrate went into that. I don't know. I'm just guessing. A very pleasant commercial style of red wine that's accessible. But it's not really my thing. And the third wine, a Fitu, 2005 vintage. It says Reserve de Capitale. I suspect it's from a co-op or a large producer. Now, the interesting thing about this is the price is on the back. It's $7.99. Well, I gave it a little try earlier, and yeah, my verdict of this is it's quite simple. It's a bit earthy, a bit savoury. It's a perfectly good, honest £4 wine, but it's not an £8 wine. And I suspect this is one of those supermarket wines that they put in a fancy bottle, you know, it's kind of a bit wanky really, with these sort of rounded shoulders and an embossed glass thing on the front. Put it in a fancy bottle, make it look expensive, price it at £8. They don't expect to sell much of it at all at £8. I think the deal here is that what happens is they then discounted to $3.99, half price offer, and everyone thinks, wow, it's half price, it's brilliant. But what they're really getting is just an honest £4 wine anyway in the first place. That's my guess anyway. Okay, so time for some book reviews. The first book, it's one I'm reading at the moment and I'm most of the way through. It's by Jamie Goode, who's a novelist based in the States, and it's called The Hedonist in the Cellar. It's a series of short essays really, each of which takes in a particular wine or a particular region, and it's really well written. He's got a great writing style. I guess it's more sort of morsels. It's a kind of like bite-sized pieces, a finger buffet, if you like, of wine writing rather than a full meal. You read the articles and you get drawn in, but you kind of wish you'd go a little bit further. But that's not to take away from the fact that it's actually a really, really good book, very impressive, and a good read. The second book, and this is a book that's 20 years old this year, so it's not a new book. It's Kermit Lynch's Adventures on the Wine Route. Lynch is an importer who's very well known in the States. He's been responsible for bringing quite a lot of really interesting wines and introducing them to the American market. And the thing that sets this book apart is the fact that Lynch is actually a brilliant writer. He takes a range of topics and just brings them alive. As the title suggests, this is about his sort of initial journeys through the regions of France, which he specialises in, unearthing really fascinating wines. And if you remember, this book was written 20 years ago when the wine world was quite a different place, and Lynch was a pioneer. And it's a really, really good book. If you can get hold of it on Amazon, I recommend it. It's one of the best books I've read about wine. And the final book tonight is... oh, hello Rosie. Rosie's playing with Spider-Man. The final book tonight's called Questions of Taste. It's a book about the philosophy of wine, and it includes a number of chapters written by a range of people, including academic philosophers. I've got a chapter in there as well, although I'm not a philosopher. And it's not the most accessible book in the world. You've got to do a bit of thinking if you read this book, but if you're prepared to think about wine a bit, and you've got an interest in some of the philosophical issues that surround wine, then this is a unique book. I think it's a really good read. And it's not expensive. It's about £12. You probably get it cheap on Amazon. Okay, well, thanks for listening. That's all for tonight. See you soon.